Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Selena Vasquez Mireles. This video is part of All Star Education's new series, STEM Education in Any Location. This particular focus will be on the kitchen. This is inspired and dedicated to the wonderful ladies of The View, in particular the episode that aired on September 14, 2021. Before we get started, in true fashion, pun intended, as part of my campaign, Be True to Your Shirt or Be Your True Shirt, I'm wearing a South Padre Island, Texas t-shirt featuring the beautiful sea turtles. I'll be sure to include the link to Sea Turtle Ink in the description of this video. Let's get started. Each of the STEM education in any location videos will follow the same format. I'll include a brief description of the setting, elaborate on the STEM concept, and also focus on and include questions to explore STEM investigations. I'll also have some suggestions for teachable moments and elaborate on terminology and concepts that are key to this topic. I'll also be sure to include uh, links to resources that are pertinent to the topic. The setting is the kitchen, and the kitchen is very much like a lab. It has appliances like a stove and an oven, a refrigerator, also has dishes and utensils can be used for work, pots and pans, food, condiments, spices, storage containers, a sink, and a faucet. First, let's talk about what water is. It's 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen. Tap water can contain other elements. Sometimes fluoride is added to water, for example. In its ideal form, water has a pH level of 7. It's the center of the pH scale. Why is water important? Well, it's very prevalent throughout the earth. All living things require water. It is the universal solvent. 75% of the Earth's surface is composed of water, and of course our bodies mirror that same type of proportion. Over 60% of the body is composed of water. Water is also the only substance that occurs naturally on Earth in all its states of form or states of matter, as a solid, as a liquid, and as a gas. Well, why do we boil water? One of the main reasons we boil water is because of to make the water safe to drink. We can also use boiling water for cooking and, of course, as a weapon. We can boil water over the stovetop in a gas or electric stove, over an open fire, or even in the microwave. Now let's look at some STEM investigations related to boiling water. One of the things we may want to ask is, what does it actually mean to boil water? What is the boiling point of water in degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit? And what's the relationship between those two types of measurement units? You've also may have heard a watch pot never boils. What do you think that means, and where do you think that comes from? Does it make sense to put a lid over the boiled water, and does that change the rate at which the water boils? Let's also talk about volume and capacity of the pot. What is the capacity of the pot, and what is the volume of the water put into the pot, and does that affect the rate at which the water may boil? What about elevation or altitude? Is it going to take longer to boil water in Colorado Springs, Colorado versus Brownsville, Texas? Why? What do you think makes the difference there, if there is a difference? And some folks actually add sodium chloride or salt to the water in hopes that perhaps they're hoping that the water will boil faster, or maybe it'll do something different. What do you think happens? And these are all things that you can investigate by boiling water, or trying these particular investigations. Okay, ladies, this is for you. Again, the conversation you had about school and education, and I believe Anna Navarro mentioned that she wanted to learn how to boil water. And I also heard about some of the issues that she was having with trigonometry, and then Joy Behar about calculus. So this slide is for you. There is a relationship between boiling water and calculus. Calculus is actually the study of change, very much like geometry is the study of shapes. Calculus is the study of change, specifically rates of change. And there's a lot of change going on when you boil water that can be calculated and can be determined. The states of matter are changing, but specifically the rate of change, which leads to Newton's law of cooling. In calculus, we normally study the very classic ordinary differential equation related to this. So it would definitely be worth our while to keep or to include boiling water in any of our STEM classes because they'd be very pertinent to that. And I'll also want to let you know that I'm going to be doing videos on a lot of the other topics that the ladies mentioned. I'm going to talk about changing a tire. I'm going to talk about civics and how those can all be related to STEM education. Okay, teachers and parents, the slides are for you. What are some of the teachable moments that you can extract from the action of boiling water? One of them is the discussion of volume versus capacity. Are they the same or are they different? And also investigating the units of measure, both in standard and metric form for liquid or water in this case. A very interesting question is, how do you actually measure the steam? You can also teach students or capitalize an opportunity to talk about water quality. What is pH? This is something that even young students can do. They can gather water samples from different locations, from the water fountain, tap water, from the pool, drinking water, and they can measure the pH and do some comparisons on their pH levels. You can also take a moment to talk about the periodic table. What is water composed of? We know hydrogen and oxygen, but what other elements are found? And again, this is a good way to have a hands-on experience with the periodic table. Some more teachable moments include time spent on the water cycle. What does it mean for room temperature of the water, ambient temperature? What types of water are there? In terms of tap water, we mentioned that seawater, fresh water, mineral water, what other types of water exist? And also, what bodies of water exist on the earth? The Gulf, the sea, ocean, lakes, and something we use down in the valley, we use the term resaca. What are those bodies? What are those bodies of water? Where do they exist? And then I also would be remiss in mentioning, if I didn't mention the idea of safety. When we're talking about boiling water, we're talking about heat and what that means. So it's real important to include a lesson on safety before you do anything. This slide consists of some of the terminology and the concepts that we used in this video. It doesn't include everything that you can cover, but it's a list to get you started. One of the things that we definitely rely upon at All Star Education is the idea of making things culturally relevant. And for that purpose, I include this slide to address some of the things or some of the terms or concepts that may be relevant to the idea of water or even boiling water. I wanted to remind you that hydro is the Greek term and agua is the Latin term, and so we may use those terms when we look at some of the more technical language. Also wanted to mention that the word water can be used as a verb. So for example, you can water your plants. And I also included some Spanish words for bodies of water and also the idea that the word boil, it has a medical connotation and it's not necessarily the same thing. It actually means that there's an infected hair follicle that forms under the skin. So be cognizant of the fact that these words can be used in different contexts. All right, well, one of the things I promised was that I would include a list of resources. It's not, again, an entire list, but some of my top favorites. I would recommend Kids Connect. It's a really nice site that has ready-made worksheets that are available and includes some really interesting water facts that I think would be very pertinent to children understanding and working with water. I also want to recommend the Laredo Water Museum if you're ever in Texas. I had the pleasure of attending right when it was open back in 2017. I took my children there, and it was a wonderful museum, really exploratory, very hands-on, very informational. I think that that would be a great place to visit. And I also I'm including a link for the Smithsonian Institution. They have a traveling exhibition service. I know now with COVID that things may be a little bit slow. They may slow down or may not be as active, but this is something to look forward to as things pick up. And also, I am including the CDC site for making water safe in an emergency. I think they have a really nice layout of a step-by-step process that you can undergo for making your water safe. Okay, folks, well, we've come to the end of the video. Please make sure you check my site. I have some worksheets available that you can use that go along with this video. I'll also be developing a collection of lesson plans for teachers and for parents. So look forward to seeing that pretty soon. You know the drill. Make sure that you like the video and turn on your notifications and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of good stuff coming up very, very soon, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So thank you for your time, and good luck studying, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.